Welcome back to Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.
Here are the scores following the first toss-up round of this Battle of the Brains Championship. Our team from Douglas Freeman High School in Henrico County with 70 points. First Colonial High School of Virginia Beach with 40 points. We'll get back to our championship match just ahead, but first we want you to meet today's players on the two teams that have made it to the final match of this season. Let's meet our team from Douglas Freeman High School in Henrico. The Mavericks are coached by Matthew Scott. First up is Gio Matseo, who is a senior who runs track year-round. His interests include philosophy, debate, and science. He's involved with Model UN and the History and Human Rights Club. Our team captain from the Douglas Freeman High School team, who we've seen play for 4 years now, Joseph Chambers, is a senior. He plays the baritone sax in the marching band, also the tenor sax in the school's jazz band. He enjoys reading, keeping up with sports, and doing word and logic puzzles. Is planning to go to the University of Virginia this fall. Next up is Kenny Vo, a senior who will be headed off to VCU this fall. He plans to go into chemical engineering. His interests include paleontology, zoology, and video games. And wrapping up our team from Douglas Freeman is Kieran Wall, who's a senior. He's in the Center for Leadership at Freeman, planning to go to UVA. In the meantime, his pastimes include rock climbing. He's editor-in-chief of the school's newspaper and enjoys amateur astronomy. That is our team from Douglas Freeman High School. Congratulations on making it to our championship match. And they're going against this other team from First Colonial High School in Virginia Beach. The Patriots are coached by Carl Naki. First up is Kelsey Conklin, who is a senior, is captain of the travel softball team, plans to major in English in college. Do note that all our team members attend the school's Legal Studies Academy. The team captain is Anderson Smith, who's a senior, enjoys reading, would like to become a veterinarian. Right now, she's captain of the school's cross-country, track, and debate teams. Next up is Justice Menzel, who is a senior. He plans to study English in college. He's a musician, plays French horn in the school's wind ensemble. And wrapping up our team from First Colonial is Grace Coleman, who is captain of the school's debate and speech teams, is a musician, a violinist in the chamber orchestra, and hopes to study environmental science and economics in college. And that is our championship making team from First Colonial High School. Again, congratulations to both of the teams for making it this far in our season. Now, our category round, where each team will select one 10-question category from today's choices. If the team gets all of its questions correct in the allotted time, they will receive a 20-point bonus. All right, teams, here are today's categories from which you may choose. They are fantastic vocabulary, notice FAN is in quotation marks, borrowed words, and months of the year. And we do note that in this round, only the captains can officially answer for the team, though they may confer with their teammates to try to come up with the correct answers. By the rules, the high score team gets first choice of category. That is our team from Douglas Freeman High School. Joseph, if you can please open up your microphone, quickly talk it over with your teammates. Let me know what category you'd like to play.
We're going to go with months of the year.
All right, identify the month of the year representing each of the following. The first is Julius Caesar warned to beware of the Ides of this month.
March.
Correct.
March is our answer.
Named by the Romans for the patron goddess of marriage.
June. Yes. June.
Oh, June is our answer.
June is correct. Federal income taxes are due.
April is our answer.
Correct. The dog days of summer end in this month.
It's under July, August. I think it ends in August. Our answer is August.
That's correct. One of the 2 months added to the 10-month Roman calendar.
July. Our answer is July.
It would be January or February. When baseball's World Series is generally played.
It's October, right?
Yes.
Recently, it's ended in November.
Yeah, October.
Our answer, don't like the playoffs start in October and then end in November. Our answer is November.
It's October. European Druids used mistletoe in a festival.
It's December. Our answer is December.
Correct. Green Day song, Wake Me Up When This Month Ends.
Our answer is September.
Correct. It comes in like a lion.
That's also March. Our answer is March.
That's correct. And finally saw the first moon landing in 1969.
July. Our answer is July.
And I think that came in after the buzzer. The judge is saying, yes, that was after the buzzer. Good job on that category by that our team from Freeman High School. Now, First Colonial. Anderson, if you could please open up your microphone and talk it over with your teammates. Fantastic vocabulary or borrowed words.
All right, what do we think?
We all did on fantastic.
All right. We're feeling fantastic today, Cheryl.
I'm glad to hear that, Anderson. Given the definition, identify the following words, each of which incorporates the letters F-A-N in that order. The first is a child before they can walk.
Infant.
Correct. Overly zealous in devotion to a cause.
Fanatic.
Correct. Or fanatical or fan. A full puffed out hairstyle like in the 1950s.
Bouffant.
Correct. A lively Spanish dance in triple time.
Grace.
Yeah, like I know this. I'm not big on my Spanish.
Pass.
That would be a fandango. 1940 Disney musical animated movie.
Fantasia.
Correct. Marvel Comics superhero team.
Fantastic Four.
Correct. Military unit that fights on foot.
Infantry.
Correct. A vulgar or coarse word.
Profane.
That is correct. What snakes bite with.
Fangs.
Correct. And not plain.
Fancy.
There you go. All right, good job on that category from our team from First Colonial High School. Coming up next, another toss-up round when this championship Battle of the Brains match continues.
Welcome back to Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.
Here are the scores following the category round here on Battle of the Brains. Douglas Freeman High School with 105 points. First Colonial High School with 85 points. And now it's back to Battle of the Brains and another toss-up round. Again, questions are being directed to individual players. We're alternating between the teams, and there are no point deductions for incorrect answers. By the rotation, the next question goes to First Colonial High School. If a satellite is launched into orbit and its rate of revolution matches the revolution of the Earth, then the satellite is said to be in what type of orbit? Justice.
Perpetual.
The answer we're looking for is geosynchronous. Freeman, located in Paris, what building has a crypt located in a subterranean chamber, which is a final resting place for famous Frenchmen, including Voltaire, Rousseau, and Hugo? Geo. Gio put his hand down. Joseph.
Okay. Notre Dame Cathedral.
That would be the Pantheon or Paris Pantheon. First Colonial, you may need your pencil and paper for this one. After 4 tests, a student's average score is 75. What score must they earn on the next test if they want their average to increase to 80%? And that would be a 100% perfect score would be needed. Freeman, pencil and paper may be needed for this. It takes 15 hours for 4 people to paint a house. How long will it take 5 people to complete the same job? And that would be 12 hours. All right, First Colonial, please watch the screen and listen closely. Here is your Virginia-based question, video question from a member of the Battle of the Brains Brainy Bunch.
By what other name is Virginia's state saltwater fish, the striped bass, known?
And that would be the rockfish, or striper would be acceptable. Freeman, the Homestead Act of 1862 gave a person 160 acres of land with certain conditions. How long did a person have to live on or homestead this land to receive the title? Joseph.
5 years.
5 years is correct. First Colonial. Who was the daughter of Maria Theresa of Austria, who by legend had a unique solution to the Paris bread famine? Anderson.
Marie Antoinette.
That's correct. She said, let them eat cake. Freeman, the egg, the larva, the pupa, and the adult are the 4 life stages of insects that undergo what type of change in form? Joseph.
Metamorphosis.
I need you to be more specific.
turning into a butterfly, like metamorphosis.
That is incorrect. We're looking for complete metamorphosis. First colonial. Established by Congress in 1872, Yellowstone is America's and the world's first national park. Most of this nearly 3,500-acre park lies in the northwestern section of what state? Anderson.
California.
It's actually in Wyoming. Freeman, in this work, the story The Mad Tryst is read by the narrator, while the poem The Haunted Palace is read by the narrator's sickly host, who believes his home is sentient. That home kills the siblings Roderick and Madeline when it collapses. In what story by Edgar Allan Poe? Gio.
The Fall of the House of Usher.
Correct. First colonial, it contains the gene DMD, which is the largest gene in the human genome. Autism, color blindness, and hemophilia are all linked to recessive genes on which chromosome of which men only receive one? Anderson.
The X chromosome.
Correct. Freeman. PETA, P-E-T-A, is an acronym for what? Joseph.
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
That is correct. And that buzzer means one more toss-up round ahead, and we'll have this season's champions for you here on Battle of the Brains. Stay with us.